tonight. My best wasn't good enough. An apology. Good evening. Saying sorry to the Grenfell community. The man tasked with developing building safety policy admitted to the inquiry today he'd allowed it to fall to the back of the queue. Bob Ledson was the civil servant responsible for building regulations. His government job was to make buildings safe. Well, tellingly, a document warning of dangers was ignored just 9 hours before the Grenfell fire began. Today, he apologised. Rags Martel reports. As the construction of the high-speed rail line HS2 gathers pace, Londoners have finally been given a glimpse at one of its centrepiece developments. Euston Station will be transformed with a gold-coloured roof, no less, at a cost of £3 billion. It's one of the biggest developments in the capital since the 2012 Olympic Games. Our correspondent Simon Harris went for a look. Police say they're no longer investigating a report of criminal damage after dizzy rascals smashed a photographer's camera outside Wimbledon Magistrates Court on Monday. Now, just a 3-hour flight away from the capital, the war, of course, rages on in Ukraine as Russian forces continue their advance on the country. There are many here who have been compelled to act. One of them is Leon Dawson. He owns a gym in Surrey, but tonight he is in Poland on the border with Ukraine. He's gone out there to help with a humanitarian effort, but says he's also willing to fight against the Russians. And I'm pleased to say that Leon, unfortunately, we seem to have technical problems there with Leon, but it's worth pointing out, and I would have brought this up with Leon, that the Foreign Office advice has been against anyone to travel to Ukraine, to conflict zones, to engage in unlawful activity. So just to get that point across. Well, a Queen's Guardsman based in Windsor has abandoned his post to also try and join Ukrainian forces fighting Russia. ITV News London understands a 19-year-old, who we're not naming, has booked a flight to Eastern Europe. The Ministry of Defence says anyone in the military who leaves for Ukraine will be disciplined. Well, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have offered their support to volunteers at a donation centre in Holland Park, supporting people in Ukraine. Prince William told those at the Ukrainian Cultural Centre that he feels useless, that they can only offer words, but the Ukrainian people are always in his thoughts. With more, here's James Dunham. Well, the ITV News will have, of course, all the very latest from Ukraine at 6:30. Here's a look with Mary. Well, there's much more to come with us too. But first, the former Arsenal and England striker Kelly Smith was at a Wembley primary school this morning. It was all part of the FA's record-breaking session for girls' football, which took place across the country. As less than 2/3 of girls are offered the sport as part of the school curriculum. Anna Geary reports. To men's football now, and Sutton United are heading to Wembley for the first time in 41 years. The League Two side beat Wigan Athletic in a penalty shootout. Their goalkeeper was the hero of the night, not only saving two but also scoring from the spot as Sutton won 7-6 to book their place in the final of the EFL Trophy Cup. Well, Martin Stew now on what was an historical night for both the players and the fans. Now, back in the 1970s, London's music scene was thriving. Among those wanting to make their mark was the musician, DJ and filmmaker Don Letts. He directed the music video London Calling for The Clash, and years later won a Grammy for his documentary on the band. Well, now the lens is on him. Rebel Dread is a new film that tells Don's story, and I'm delighted. Now, an original Harry Potter book bought in Surrey sold for £69,000 at auction today. The main headlines in London this evening. Clear skies today, so that's something. Will it last, though? Here's Chris with the forecast. And finally, 3,000 metres below the Antarctic ice, where it was crushed more than a century ago, one of the world's most famous shipwrecks has been found. Ernest Shackleton's ship Endurance sank in 1915, forcing all those on board into the freezing water. Well, Shackleton rescued them using a lifeboat that's now housed at Dulwich College, where he studied. Sam Holder has the story. And that is it for now. We are back with the latest after ITV News at 10. Coming up, Mary with the ITV Evening News. But from me and the rest of the London team, bye-bye.